they understand. And so that's something that is the case, that's happening with a number of different card issuers. Much the same, this is going to be true for individuals investing, earning yield, and a number of different things where the plumbing is being updated with this new technology and individuals don't even realize it. And this is something, frankly.
Alrighty, everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another CYPRX research video breakdown. In today's video, we're going to be diving down the rabbit hole. I'm going to show you all what the systemically important organizations are discussing and talking about, how traditional finance is in the process of adopting DeFi, embedding digital assets, cryptocurrencies, blockchain technology into their backend infrastructure, and that even though crypto, as of time of recording, the total crypto market cap is trading at its lowest valuation in the past 30 days, now is not the time for panic. And what it is that I'm going to show you guys in today's video breakdown is going to prove that we are headed into an interoperable system, one that is not biased or tribal, where multiple blockchains strive and thrive in the future together in an interoperable fashion and are embedded into traditional financial systems, where we truly see this convergence between TradFi and DeFi. Starting off here with Melvis from the Canton network, where he himself goes on to talk about that in the near future, we are going to head into an environment where tribalism is non-existent. Take a second and listen.
Point where we need to move away from just the ideological tribalism across different chains, because every chain is doing something well in one way or another, because their design decisions are made around the token incentives, the ecosystems, the foundation structures, and the specific use cases that they're working on. And also depending on what the exact use case and product of the institution is, they may go with some chains that are more geared towards faster, cheaper, or some that are geared towards privacy as a core component in order to facilitate the level of engagement that they want to do.
Now, I'm going to show you all from a tier 1 bank directly on their website, a tier 1 bank that just recently partnered with Canton as of, I believe, May 13th. So just a few days ago, directly on their website, it talks about how their systems are going to be interoperable and compatible with multiple different blockchains, even though they chose to work with Canton. So we'll get to that in a later portion of today's video breakdown. First, some breaking news that just took place yesterday as of time of recording this, depending on when you're watching. This is huge confirmation that TradFi participants are interested in working with digital asset organizations, no pun intended. This was announced yesterday, 22nd of May, 2026. Digital Asset has appointed Oberon Knapp, hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly, as global head of equities. Now, who is this individual? We can come over here to his LinkedIn profile, and this dude is not just some random guy. He, of course, was the head of strategy for 4 years at the OCC, and now is a global head of equities at Digital Asset. We go over to this post from Securities Financial Times, and it reads, "Now the convergence of technology, regulation, and commercial appetite has unlocked a profound opportunity. The next generation of capital markets is waiting for us, and Canton Network is where it is happening." This is, again, a direct quote coming from this gentleman who used to work at the OCC. The news follows Knapp's departure from the Options Clearing Corporation following 4 years with the firm, where he was most recently head of strategy. Knapp first joined the OCC in April 2022 as executive director of participant solutions with the firm's securities lending team, where he was responsible for developing the strategy and the vision for the future of the OCC securities lending function. And now this dude is going to be working for Digital Asset. With almost 30 years of experience across capital markets, Knapp was previously head of product and investment operations at Brown Brothers Harriman. As global head, Knapp provided a modular and interoperable operating environment for asset owners and asset managers. Previously, Knapp was responsible for the global product and algorithmic trading development for BBH's securities lending franchise. So this is the major step forward and a major announcement for Digital Asset and who they're appointing for their global head of equities. I thought that I'd share that with you all. That was something interesting that took place this week. Now, we know that Broadridge Distributed Ledger Technology Solutions sits on the Canton network, and the CEO of Broadridge recently said this at a SIFMA event that took place just a few days ago. Take a second and listen.
And this year, 2 themes stood out: wealth management and capital markets, and leveraging agentic tools to deploy new novel solutions for governance for both retail and institutional investors. But first, let's start with all of you. Each year, we track the perspectives of nearly 1,000 operations and technology professionals around the globe with a landmark digital transformation survey. And it's really good because you can compare year to year where people are. And this year, two themes stood out: digital and tokenized assets and AI, which surprisingly is what this conference is about. On tokenization, 55% of firms said that DLT technology will unlock new capital markets opportunities. That's up from 42% a year ago. It's clear that tokenization is no longer viewed as experimental. Instead, it's now being seen as an enabler of market evolution. On AI, the acceleration is even more pronounced. The adoption of Gen and predictive AI in business processes rose from 31% last year to over 80% in 2026. In a very short time, as we've heard this morning, AI has moved from isolated use cases to the center of the enterprise operating system. And the other very clear message from the survey was that financial services industry is no longer deciding whether to invest. The focus is on execution, driving measurable business value, and doing that at scale.
So he just confirmed that traditional finance is moving from this testing phase to the implementation phase, right? The execution phase, he called it. He specifically talked about AI. He specifically mentioned AI agents. We know Broadridge Distributed Ledger Technology System sits on top of Canton. Because this gentleman, the CEO of Broadridge, mentioned AI agents, I just want to quickly take you all over to here, where digital assets was a part of this commerce at machine speed, the payment infrastructure, and agentic commerce document that was released with collaboration between Amazon, Coinbase, DFNS, Paxos, all as contributors to this document. And right here, just to confirm what that CEO is saying, it says here, the assumption is now being tested. The International Monetary Fund of the IMF has described this as a shift from click to pay to decide to pay, where agentic AI is capable now of autonomous planning, tool use, decision-making, and multi-agent interaction, and is changing how commercial transactions are initiated and executed. AI agents are now making purchase decisions, committing funds, and executing transactions. They are booking travel, placing procurement orders, managing subscription renewals, and optimizing treasury positions. In each case, the AI agent can act without anyone providing the transaction in real time. This shift is already underway at the edges of the financial system and moving toward the center. So, more confirmation that this is ongoing and happening. The urgency is clear. An estimated 93% of financial institutions plan to implement agentic AI within 2 years. So, as retail investors, embedded into this new financial infrastructure and paying attention to this digital transformation, if we know that 93% of financial institutions are applying AI agents within the next 2 years, we got the CEO of Broadridge talking about how financial institutions are moving from speculation, testing, to real execution and real implementation, right? And we know Broadridge has chosen Canton Network. What should we be paying attention to, right? I'm just trying to show you guys these things because this is not what gets showed to the masses. What gets showed to the masses is price predictions, is, the volatility in crypto, but you don't see the underlying transformation. You don't see the organizations, the CEOs of these large entities telling you all, look, now is the time to tap in. Now is the time to focus on this transformative shift. Here we have some other major participants in this space. We have industry-leading experts like Sandy Call and a gentleman from Kraken, where he's talking about how the plumbing of the financial system is being updated with this new technology and individuals won't even realize it. So think about this. This is the type of video clip that you all can play for a friend or family member that just, it's like, hey, now is the time to wake up, everybody, because this is happening. There's going to be a certain onset of individuals that understand it and a certain onset of individuals that get left behind because they weren't paying attention to the right things. And here at CYPRX, we're attempting to make sure that we show you all to be paying attention to the right things. Listen to what this guy says here.
Something that, it kind of goes back to this piece I said before about TradFi products riding on crypto tech. This dynamic wasn't actually always obvious. And in fact, probably in the first decade or so, been in this industry for a long time, crypto for a long time, we specifically decided that would never be the case. There was kind of this, old TradFi centralized system, and it was going to be over here. And there's this brand new thing, decentralized finance, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin at the time, and never the two shall meet. In fact, we referred to Kraken in the early days as a bridge, moving from one to the next. We're going to get people across this bridge from, this old world to the promised land. And I actually very much, believed that to be the case after I kind of saw things evolve. And there's a bunch of TradFi companies like way back when who basically said like, okay, there might be something here, but let's kind of like strip out a ton of the different parts of crypto and maybe we could leverage it over here. And a lot of those efforts didn't really succeed. But as we move forward to today, the reality is I was kind of fucking wrong on that belief. And the reality is that it's going to be much more integrated than we actually expected. And we've actually gotten now to a place for a number of different reasons. Yes, regulation part of it, where a number of TradFi institutions are saying like, hey, actually, we do see how we can now integrate these into our systems. And we're going to kind of move through this place for a long period of time now where leveraging more and more crypto tech. And there's a number of people out there paying with a credit card. They don't even realize that the settlement on the back end is happening with stable coins. They just have a normal credit card as far as they understand. And so that's something that is the case, that's happening with a number of different card issuers. Much the same, this is going to be true for individuals investing, earning yield, and a number of different things where the plumbing is being updated with this new technology and individuals don't even realize it. And this is something.
The plumbing is being updated and individuals don't even realize it. Wow. Major confirmation. A video that should be broadcasted to the masses, but otherwise is not. So again, here at CYPRX, just trying to show you guys, even though the market is trading at its lowest valuation in the past 30 days, trading at, I think, about $2.45 trillion as of time of recording, now it's not the time for panic. Now, because this gentleman used that key vocabulary, plumbing, right? Listen to what Yuval Ruse says here at a 2026 global conference titled Digital Asset Institutional Capital in the Tokenized World from the beginning of May, where he goes on to talk about how he sees himself as being in the pipes business, right? The plumbing of the new financial system. Take a second and listen here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is why a lot of times people are very, very upset why things are not happening faster, right? I look at blockchain and tokenization as an infrastructure play. I always say I'm in the pipes business. And when you renovate your house, replacing the pipes is very hard. You need to lift, the ground. You need to, there's complications. And at the same time, you want also the house to operate. So moving away from old traditional system to a new system that allows you to interoperate with the legacy world, right, which is currently moving trillions of dollars daily, is not a trivial task.
Actually,
but
more than Visa today.
Yes.
There's more volume on stable coins than Visa.
Yeah.
And again, if you think of global.
So I just wanted to play that real quick clip of Yuval saying he sees himself as being in the pipes business, right? Restructuring the pipes underneath the house, rebuilding the foundation. And so that goes hand in hand with what the gentleman from Kraken says, and goes hand in hand with the document that was just released from ISDA. Now, ISDA put this document out here, May 15th, 2026. And it says here, constitutional paper on the prudential treatment of crypto assets on permissionless blockchains. And I said that this confirms major regulated financial institutions are actively building and testing on permissionless blockchain infrastructure, one of the biggest institutional shifts in the entire paper, saying regulators are no longer arguing that public blockchains are inherently unacceptable. And you can see here in the highlights it says, the Basel crypto asset standards should take into account the fact that experimentation and testing with permission blockchains by regulated financial institutions suggests that technical solutions to mitigate the risks identified by Basel Committee are being actively developed and implemented. Then over here it says, risks associated with permissionless blockchains can be effectively mitigated through appropriate measures, represents a positive step towards greater technology neutrality in the implementation of the Basel crypto asset standards. So this is all ongoing. And this is directly from ISDA. And we know coming over here at the very beginning or end of April, you can see the date right here, 28th, 30th, 2026. We had Yuval Ruse standing at this event with the CEO of ISDA stating, as we work with organizations like you, talking directly to the ISDA CEO, so he's confirming that they're working with ISDA in this statement. Listen to what he says. And we know the ISDA, International Swaps and Derivatives Association, we should probably be paying attention to organizations like Digital Asset who are working with ISDA, right? Listen to what they say here.
What are the kind of the hurdles and challenges that we're going to be facing to get implementation?
Sure. I actually think that, when we explain the opportunity and the use cases, it's very easy to explain it. Better capital efficiency. If you want to trade 24/7, you must be able to move collateral 24/7. Actually, where the hard part is, how do we move from today's world to tomorrow without disrupting the entire market? So it's actually working with organizations like yourself and making sure that we don't have to reimagine the entire legal system and contract structure all the way from zero. It's working with a lot of the intermediaries that are doing some of the risk management, collateral management systems for the clients, for them to actually integrate to the technology so customers can just be the beneficiaries of the technology. I actually think that those are, in my opinion, the more interesting areas to invest, because again, describing the use cases and the benefit is easy. How do you actually move clients to use them is the challenge.
So new technology, same legal structures.
Must be. I mean, it has to be.
Thanks, Yuval.
Right. So he literally just confirmed working with organizations such as yourself, talking directly to the CEO of ISDA. So I found that to be very interesting, considering a document that they put out recently in May. Coming over here, last but not least, I said here in this post, listen up. Jean-Marc Stenger, Society Generale, or SOC Gen Forge, said all banks will use DeFi. Keep in mind, Society Generale, a tier 1 bank, this month announced it is accelerating the development of institutional blockchain-based financial infrastructure on the Canton network. We'll come back to this particular post here in a second. But remember I said that there's a bank that has on their website that they're going to be compatible with multiple different blockchains. We started off with Melvis from Canton stating that there should be no tribalism, right? Listen to what this gentleman here says. So we'll start off here with his credentials. Take a second and listen.
Maybe let's jump straight in. So Jean-Marc, you are the CEO of a subsidiary of a tier 1 investment bank who has launched its own MiCAR-approved euro stablecoin, which is pretty impressive. That's a big break against the mold, some would say. I think one question, and we've touched on this over the course of the day, is around capital allocation, capital efficiency. So what fundamentally changes in terms of capital allocation when you use blockchain versus traditional financial systems?
Yeah, sure. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me here on the panel. Thank you, Stani AAV. I think I believe to the AAV friends, indeed. And maybe before answering your question, I think what is indeed key in what you said, and that's something we truly believe at Société Générale for a while, is that actually blockchain technology and all the new developments we are seeing, especially in the DeFi space, are actually fundamentally and truly transforming the way capital markets and payments and part of what we are doing as a bank is doing. I mean, it's really happening, and that's precisely why we have decided already 5 years ago to create this subsidiary, Société Générale Forge, which is hosting the developments we are doing in crypto within Société Générale.
Right. So I just wanted you guys to hear him confirm. He said this is happening, right? This is happening. And you guys just heard his credentials. He stems from a tier 1 financial institution. Now, before I play the last video clip of him saying that all banks will use DeFi, we come over here. This is SG Forge's website, sgforge.com, the only stablecoin supported by a major European bank. And if we scroll right down here, it says multiple blockchain protocols available for issuance, right? So again, that vocabulary alone shows that a tier 1 bank is preparing for a future of multiple blockchain protocols, which is just huge confirmation that we, as the retail investors who have been doing research on all these multiple different blockchains, I would go outright and say are right and will be right long-term. Again, not financial advice. Do your own personal research. What you think those blockchain networks are going to be in the future. Everybody has a different opinion on which ones those are going to be, but this is confirmation that there will be multiple. Okay. So I wanted to share that with you all. And then considering Société Générale, a tier 1 bank, recently announced, this is from the 13th of May, 2026, that it is accelerating the development of institutional blockchain-based financial infrastructure on the Canton network. I'd say that Canton is one of those chosen solutions. With the focus on tokenized collateral, on-chain financing, and institutional-grade digital settlement solutions, powered by its digital asset subsidiary, Société Générale Forge, or SG Forge. SG Forge will deploy its institutional-grade coinvertible stablecoins on Canton, providing a regulated digital settlement solution designed to support collateral mobility, financing activity, and cash management across tokenized markets and permitted jurisdictions. Societe Generale joins the Canton network ecosystem as an ecosystem super validator, underscoring its strong commitment to contributing to the development of institutional grade use cases across collateral mobility, margin management, and repo financing, tokenized settlement. Last but not least, playing this video clip where the gentleman from SG Forge says that all banks will use DeFi. Don't take it from me, take it from this gentleman here.
Making these services more efficient, better. Obviously, if there are solutions which are appropriate, safe, and which the value added has been demonstrated, and I think for DeFi protocols, at least the largest one like Aave, I think this has been largely proven in the market, considering the operations which are already carried on some assets, starting with the cryptocurrencies years ago, but we know these are flowing to more real-world assets. This value creation has been proven. Already 2 years ago, I was on a panel and I said that in my view, banks will be the largest clients of DeFi protocol in a few years. And I still believe it, and I think it's actually more and more true. We will be facing clients. We will be doing tomorrow what we do today, making sure the suitability is there for the clients, making sure the products are well designed and are efficient and so on. But we will be using different way of operating our own systems, and DeFi is a very valid candidate for that, I think.
What did people say?
So finishing up here, even though crypto valuations are down across the board due to the ongoing geopolitical tensions, the inflationary fears, so on and so forth, the risk-off headlines continue to resume, putting pressure on global risk assets. Nonetheless, now is not the time to focus on fear-based initiatives, shaking people out of the market. Now is the time to lock in and focus on technology that is changing the world. Because when all of this finally kicks off at scale and financial institutions flood in, there are not going to be opportunities that exist like the ones that exist today in the future. With that being said, many blessings to you guys. Remember, we talked about Canton Network. That doesn't mean I'm telling you guys to go out there and invest in Canton Coin. Always do your own personal research, do your own due diligence, make your own discernment out there. Many blessings to you all. If you all enjoyed this video breakdown, do us that favor, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the platform. We do appreciate the love and the support. Remember, all of this research and so much more can be found within inside the private CYPRX Discord. We would love to have you on the team. See you all on the inside. With that being said, be cognizant, be aware out there, and I'll see you all in the next video breakdown.